Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back. Today's story is going to be a pretty crazy story, as you can already tell by the title. But before that, I am recording this on Christmas Day, so I hope you guys are having an amazing Christmas. Hope you all are spending time with your family. Hope you all are enjoying every part of your Christmas Day. I surely am. It's been a great Christmas, and I figured, I'm not doing anything for the rest of the night. May as well record a story. So, this story is going to be about the time that I was almost a stepfather. Yeah, at 20 years old. So let's get into it. So the story all takes place pretty much just like a few weeks ago. So it was late at night. I was on Snapchat. I was just going through my, daily quick ads, seeing what girls are popping up, maybe adding a few, seeing, take a shot in the dark, see if any of them will have my back, maybe get something out of it. Because at this point, I didn't want to use a dating app. Because I was like, dating apps, they've worked in the past, but they haven't really, led to really much. I've only had like one real relationship with a dating app. So I went down to go to Snapchat, and I know that's probably, even worse than a dating app. I'll probably have better luck on a dating app than Snapchat. But whatever, I tried it out. So I added like 4 girls, I had like 4 out of the 5 that I got. And I just went on with my day. The very next morning, I wake up, and one of them added me back. Now, we're going to call this girl Sarah. We'll call her Sarah. Sorry. So we had Sarah. Sarah added me back, a couple hours ago. So I decided that, I texted her, I just texted, my daily, hey, how's your day going, the simple stuff like that. That's how I start off all the conversations. She texts back. An hour later, hey, my day's going good. How about yours? And I say my day's going good. Find out where she's from. She lives in the same exact town as me. So I was like, oh hell yeah. And she was also 18. So I was like, okay, fucking perfect. We found someone around my age. Found somebody who lives in the same town as me. This is perfect. So me and her start talking. Getting to a bit of flirting. Stuff like that. And after a while, we decide, hey, let's get to know each other and let's go out on a date. So, we start talking, daily. And about a week into it, we decide to go out to a date. So we go out to this fancy restaurant that's in my town, It was kind of expensive, but not really, Whenever you take a girl on the first date, you may want to do something, fun, maybe go bowling or something like that. But I figure, a casual dinner date is good for this point. So we go out to a fancy restaurant. I'm not going to say the name of it because it'd be pretty simple to find out where I live. Even though I'm pretty sure nobody that's watching this gives a fuck where I live. But anyway, so, we get to the restaurant, I meet her there. I drive there, and then she drives there, because that's what you should do whenever you're meeting someone for the first time. You don't want your date to go pick you up straight at your house because, they could be weird, even though that's not me, But I understood, so I met her there. She met me there. We walk inside, I already had a reservation set for it because, with this restaurant, if you don't have a reservation set, on a fucking Friday night, you're probably not gonna have any things available. So we go to the restaurant, we meet there, we sit down, we start talking our food and everything. Just it's going perfect. So, about an hour or two goes by, everything's going good, we're just talking, just getting to know each other a bit more. And after the date, everything went well. I paid for it, and we walked back out. We walked out of the restaurant, and then we walked in, and then we got into my car. We were just gonna drive around, see what else is going on throughout the night, because the night was still young. The night was not over yet. So we just go out. We walked around this mall that was open for a little bit more. We do that, and I drove back to the restaurant. Because, she was going to leave in her car and I was going to leave, go back to my house and she was going to go back to her house. But before that, before she got out of my car, she was like, hey, can I tell you something? And I'm like, yeah, what's up? Now, what I'm thinking is that this girl's about to say, hey, I really enjoyed tonight. I really enjoyed spending time with you, and I want to take, this relationship to the next level. I thought she was going to, make a move, and become boyfriend and girlfriend on literally the first day. So I'm thinking, is this girl really about to take it, this far? Like, hey, can we talk about something? That can only, mean one thing. But what she said next, I was not expecting. She's like, so how would you feel if I was pregnant? And I sat there for a second looking at her like, wait, what? I'm like, hold on. You're what now? She's like, and before before I can even process that, then she leaves that off with saying, "Don't worry, the father is not in the picture anymore." And at this point, I'm like, wait, what? Like that doesn't make it any better. And I'm like, "You're pregnant." She's like, "Yes," and I'm like, okay, why is the father not in the picture? And she's like, like, after I told him I was pregnant, he blocked me and stuff, and I couldn't get any contact with him. He ghosted me. And I'm like, oh, okay, he ghosted you, okay. So I'm sitting there, because I'm like, damn it, like, I really like this girl, she's really cute, like, really enjoyed talking with her, she's a really cool girl, but she's pregnant, and it's not even mine. Like, if it was my child, I could understand that, obviously, if I get a girl pregnant, I'm not gonna leave her. That's the worst. That's the most pussy thing and the most bitch thing you can do. But I'm like, I don't know. And she's like, if you don't want it, like, if you don't want to continue this relationship, we don't have to. I just figure I let you know that I'm pregnant. And I wasn't even mad about the part that she was pregnant. I'm mad that for a week of us talking, leading up to going out on this date, she didn't tell me not once that she was pregnant. So I'm like, listen, I really like you, I really enjoy talking with you, I really enjoy hanging out with you, but, I'm only 20, I'm not ready to be a father, let alone a stepfather. And she looks at me, she's like, you sure? And I'm like, yeah, I just can't do that, like, not at my age. Like, maybe if I was a bit older, maybe I consider it, but no, I don't want to continue this. And she looks at me and just says, all right, fine. Gets out of my car, slams my car door, doesn't even look back, gets in her car, and drives off. So I'm like, okay, maybe she just wanted to get home. I knew she was mad at me, but I'm like, maybe she'll calm down, Obviously, nothing's going to come out of this relationship, and maybe she'll calm down, right? So I just brush it off, I put my car in reverse, I drive back home, and I get back home, and I'm gonna go text her being like, hey, are you okay and stuff. I go to Snapchat, I'm blocked. I go to Instagram, I'm also blocked. I go to messages, I'm also blocked. And I'm like, well, fuck. Like, alright, well, I guess not. Now, I can understand that, she really liked me, she really, she wanted to, like, because between us talking, like if I showed you the messages between us talking, every night she wanted to stay up and talk with me and stuff. She kept wanting, like, we would call all the time and stuff like that. It was basically like we were dating, but we weren't, which really kind of sucks because, I really enjoyed talking with her and she really enjoyed talking with me, but the fact that she was pregnant, I just can't do that, I'm not ready to be a father, let alone a stepfather. Like, imagine that. Imagine me going on this channel, uploading a video one day. Hey guys, guess what? I'm a stepfather. Like, at 20 years old. Let alone the kid was going to be born like a few months before I turned 21, so I would have been a stepfather at 21. But I can't do that. I'm not going to do that. If I'm going to be a father, it's going to be my kid, like my biological son or daughter, whatever. But yeah, that's basically the end of the story, Failed relationship. Because the girl was pregnant and the father was out of the picture. But yeah, that's basically the end of the story. It's just another one of those. But yeah, that's basically the end of the story. If you guys did enjoy, please be sure to like and subscribe. Thank you all for watching and have a great day. I will see you all later. Don't try to bring me down, cause your whip can't make a sound. I know I make you mad, the way I've been moving way too fast. Joyride all the way, hoes be flashing me all day. That's Snap.